Hey everybody, this is Tony, the Geeky Agent from here in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Thanks for joining me today. Today with me I have Rob Hahn from 7DS Associates in the United States. Rob is a real estate consultant, thought leader. He is well known for being very outspoken in terms of real estate issues, and we thank him for that. He is one of the people who likes to speak truth to power, as he likes to say. He's been in the real estate industry for a very long time, and he's going to be a feature speaker at the OREA REALiTY Conference starting on February 27th until March 1st down in downtown Toronto at the Sheraton Centre. So we really appreciate him taking the time out. I know he has a busy schedule, so we're just going to jump right in and start with him. And here he is. Hey, Mr. Hahn, thank you for joining us. Good, good. Oh, I appreciate it. Hopefully our live feed will work for us this time. We've tried a few. Yeah, they've gone off to watch YouTube videos at this point. Yes, yeah. But I appreciate you taking the time. As we started the last feed, I just want to check with you and see, give us a sense of what your background is and where you come from. I know you've been in real estate for a very long time, but your journey to where you are today.
Wall Street to selling men's clothes to
Right.
law school. Apparently, I don't like like money, so I went to a magazine editor at a
Right.
gaming company. I was a professional card player for a little bit. One thing led to another, but my real estate journey really starts with Realty. What back then was called Ascendant on the commercial
Right.
side. And then went out on my own in about 2009, and I've been working in the industry ever since as a consultant. And somehow, I just lucked into this position where I can say things that other people are thinking and talking about, like behind closed doors or in hallways. And I'm going, well, why don't we just surface it? And why don't we have these discussions in public? Because I do love this industry and the people in it. But man, sometimes we're a little too politically sensitive and touchy, and we have a tough time dealing with like real issues. So
Yeah.
that's my background.
Yeah, and I think we've had that discussion a little bit too, that I'm always surprised by people who are surprised by people who tell the truth. That's the best way of putting it. Every time I see somebody on stage, and I know Lee Brown's very outspoken, I know you're sort of seen in a different context, but in the same light, as being someone that just kind of speaks their mind about what's happening and that. And when people see that, they kind of seem shocked by it, because it's like not something that they're used to. I think they're more used to keeping the issues hushed, like you said, behind closed doors. Like, we'll talk about it at the bar, but don't let anybody else know.
Right.
But yeah, you haven't been that person. You've been the person that's more willing to be outspoken, and we appreciate that. I mean, sort of, how'd you get the reputation? Where'd those kind of things start to come out? What were you talking about?
I guess it's just my personality. A lot of it, Tony. Like, I can only be me. But I know a lot of it had to do with the blog. When I started it and started getting into it, like I still remember
R.O.B.
Notorious-ROB.com. But you can just Google it and you'll find it. But I remember one of the posts that really got the most, like, oh my God, got me in trouble, if you will. I remember this was about brokerage brand. And I just wrote, like, as offhand, it wasn't like a big post. It was just talking about something else. I said, it says brokerage brand doesn't matter. It's the individual agent and their personal brand that matters. And people went ape shit. And I'm going, wait a minute. This is a couple of years right after Keller Williams did that video, with like interviews with consumers. Every single one of them who said, yeah, the brokerage brand doesn't matter. I don't care who the broker is. And I'm going, why is this controversial? Why are people losing their minds over this? And then so I realized it's just stuff like that over and over and over again. I find that the most, quote, controversial stuff that I write is not controversial. I don't think that it's controversial when I write it, and then it becomes one. I would write something like, the MLS user interface sucks, and people lose their minds. I'm like, what are you talking about?
People are already thinking that anyways.
That's what I mean. Like, wait, it's not like I said something, oh, so-and-so is like having an affair. Like, no, this is like stuff we all know. Yeah, it's talk about and all know. And so I just figure, you know what, I'm just going to be me. And I'm just lucky to have that opportunity.
Right. And you just relocated recently too. I know you
Yes.
talked about that in the blog as well, that you were moving.
Yes. Yes.
So where are you at? You were down in Houston, correct?
I was in Houston, and I'd like to say I fled New Jersey to freedom of Texas, and
Right.
I feel like my heart will always be there. But fact is, we just relocated to Greenville, South Carolina.
Nice.
And because mountains, I mean, look, Texas has a lot of things, and Houston's a lovely, great city, but let's face it, it doesn't have a whole lot of nature going on, right? And
It's pretty flat.
when Sonny and I got together, we realized we need to be near mountains, we need to be near trees, rivers, streams, all things that Houston is lacking. So, look, my hope is to go back all the time, right? I mean,
Sure.
I love Texas. I love the Republic of Texas,
Awesome.
but I do love where we're at now. So, yeah.
Okay. And let's we're just going to check and see, get into a sort of a preview, I guess. I mean, we don't want to give away
Sure.
the entire talk, I
Exactly.
guess, but
Yeah.
but you are going to be the title of your talk is the 3 black swans of real estate, and specifically here it says Canadian real estate, but I guess it applies pretty generally right across the
Yes.
board.
Yes, it does.
So what in your mind is a black swan? Like, what do you define as being a black swan?
So, it's not something I defined, right? It's actually work by a Wall Street investor and a thinker. The name slips my mind right now. But, basically a black swan event is something that people don't expect. Like we never see it coming. But when it happens, it's incredibly disruptive, right? So an example might be like the real estate bubble, bursting. Some people saw it coming, but when it happened, it pretty much caught the world by surprise.
Right.
Other things might be natural disasters, or it might be, like 9/11 is often described as a black swan event because it just cascaded. So the issue is, from a book standpoint, what he's recommending, Nicholas Taleb, that's it. What Taleb is recommending is that you prepare your company to deal with these unexpected events that are going to change the world, right? Like if you know that it's coming, that's one thing. But if you can't, you have to have the flexibility, the resilience to be able to overcome those types of events. But I sort of adapted a little bit. I call it black swan because of the book and the term, but really we're talking about gray gooses.
Right.
Like vodka. Because what I'm going to address are things I think are rational extensions of trends and things that are happening in real estate right now. So it's not like a completely unexpected, earthquake slides half of California into the ocean.
Sure.
That's an actual black swan, right? Nobody saw that coming. No one could see that coming. Mm-hmm. But say something like, I don't know, and I want to avoid the actual topics that I'm going to present on because that gives away the game a little bit. But say something like a Walmart, buys Realty. Right? I mean, that would be a black swan or a great. It's not foreseeable necessarily, but you think about what happens if something like that happens. I know that gets brought up all the time. What happens if Amazon goes and acquires Redfin, right? Mm-hmm. Those types of things.
Yeah, specific to relative to real estate, some major events that would shake up the industry, basically.
Correct.
So I mean, I think I see where you're coming from. Like I said, we don't want to really give away too many of the topics ahead of time, but there's a lot of talk in real estate industry at this point about disruptors. Right across the board, actually, when you look at companies like Uber and just the economy in general, but in real estate specifically, a lot of startup companies are coming in with just different brokerage models completely. I mean, I just mentioned, I know you were at Inman, I believe, last week.
Yes,
I was speaking, and I was there for the beginning part of it at Hacker Connect in the first couple of days of Inman. And that was pretty much the buzzword, is like what's coming, and actually not just what's coming, people are looking for ways to disrupt the industry.
Of course.
I mean, there's these startup guys who are really looking for the opportunities to make their mark and really shake things up. So you see a lot of different brokerage models emerging pretty much across the board, right across the country. Canada, I think, is a little bit more sheltered. I think our market's a little bit smaller, and MLS works a little bit differently, but we can see what's coming down the pipe. Like Zillow is just sort of making inroads into Canada finally, after a number of years of trying to sort of get into the market and stuff. So we're sort of on a bit of a lag
Yeah.
But it does come north of the border eventually. I think it's too cold, so they kind of stay away as long as they can, and then eventually they make their way up here. Which is why Zillow's out in Vancouver. It's warmer out there in the west, right? So they're okay. They're doing all right. But yeah, definitely. So look forward to that kind of thing. What do you see? Before we came on today, I sort of promoted this on social media a little bit, and I was asking people for questions. So I did get one interesting question, and it was basically, it said, if you had a magic wand, if you had your magic lightsaber, and you could just wave it around and make one unilateral change to the real estate industry, no questions asked, what would that one thing be that you would change about real estate?
Wow. Just one, huh?
Well, there's plenty, but what would be like in your one of the things that's in your top 5?
Okay, I think the thing that I would change is the rule by NAR and CREA both. Right? In other words, organized real estate.
Right.
The principal broker rule. I would waive that. I would change that, because what it does is it forces people to join. Whether it's NAR or CREA, join the Realtor Association, who have zero interest in anything that has to do with realtors or realtor associations, simply because their broker is a realtor. I think it's that's, if I had to pick one, I would change that. And I mentioned that one because that is something that's actually within the industry's control to do. Right? Some of the other stuff having to do with license law, and we don't control that. That's all politicians, But that one we do control, and I would change that. And if that means fewer realtors, so be it. The realtor movement in my mind was never about every single person who had the license. It was about the best of the best, sort of rising to the top. And I don't know how we do that with principal broker rules and mandatory, membership because of MLS and all those types of things. So that's what I would change.
Yeah, and I can see that. I mean, like you say, it mandates that everybody, if they want to have access to the MLS, is a part of organized real estate, and that forces everybody to be a realtor. And in a lot of cases, I can see what you're saying. It dilutes the brand of realtor.
There is no brand. I mean, the realtor brand is utterly meaningless, right? It's because everyone has it. And I make this point and people get pissed off. I'm like, I don't understand. If literally only card that's available, say you lived in this old Soviet Union, right? Right. So the only card that's available is some Russian Skoda, in one color. Yeah. That's it. Brand doesn't matter. You want a car, you're gonna get this car.
Right.
So there has to be some variation of variety. We don't have that. So that's probably what I would change.
Yeah. So you're looking at basically making the designation of realtor something that you essentially strive for.
Absolutely.
It's an somewhat of an elevated position where you achieve certain professional standards, and then you're allowed to, or you can choose to become a realtor and use that term versus everybody just has to be a realtor.
Yeah, and that's deeply personal for me because look, I got into the business back in 2004. When I got into the business, I thought real estate. I thought one way about real estate, coming out of the internet world, coming out of the legal and Wall Street world. Sure. What I learned over the years is, man, this industry has the best people in the world. It really does. There's the nicest, sweetest, kindest people. It has the best people. And it actually offends me, right, that, the public perception just paints those people the same broad brush of some of the worst scumbags. And we have that too. Let's face it, we've got people going to jail and defrauding clients and doing all kinds of stuff. Sure. So that actually hurts me. I mean, my wife's a realtor, right? All my friends are realtors. And they're great realtors. They're people who really give a crap. They're people who, I feel comfortable in trusting the largest financial decision of my life to. And it actually offends me that they're being classified in the same, he's just another realtor. Oh, she's a realtor. Right. So, that actually pisses me off. So I think that's why I'm kind of down this way. I know there are people who disagree, and I get in trouble for saying that from time to time, but it's like that truth to power thing. It's look, I'm sorry. When 100% of the people selling in your area is a realtor, that brand doesn't mean anything, right?
Yeah, so, exactly. If every coffee shop was a Starbucks.
Right, that's exactly right. No locals,
No, I totally understand. Well,
I love that example. I'm going to use that. If every coffee shop is a Starbucks, right?
Yeah, or Dunkin' Donuts. Make it Dunkin' Donuts. Make it just cheaper. Yeah. Everybody can afford it. It's just, whatever.
Yeah.
If you come to Canada, you have to say it's Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons. That's right.
There you go.
That's right.
But yeah, you know what? I know you got to go. It's almost 2:00, so I do appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate people like yourself who are passionate about the industry and just want to speak out about it. And not in the sense that you want to tear it down necessarily, but you just want to make it better.
No, I want to make it better. I want to improve things for everybody. So, I mean, and I know I don't want to get into specifics. I'll just kind of drop this, right? What I'm going to talk about, the 3 black swans, they mostly have to do with fundamental forces in real estate, right? So kind of going back a little bit to what you mentioned about disruptors, there's a ton of investment money coming into real estate.
Sure.
And all these companies are trying to disrupt real estate. In my judgment, 99% of them will just utterly fail because they don't realize some of the fundamental drivers of the industry. Well, I'm going to talk about some of those fundamental drivers. And it turns out you tweak a couple of those things and things happen. So what I want to do is entertain, obviously, because people are coming. So, I want to do sort of like a KRS-One edutainment thing, inform and educate, get people thinking, but hopefully in a fun way. Hopefully people will leave, again, not saying that the black swan things are going to happen. What I want people to think about, though, is why. What are the underlying reasons why something like that could happen? That's where the important action is. That's where I think people should be focusing, strategy on. So that's it. So hopefully people show up. Hopefully they'll get to see it live, and then
I think the conference is about 80% sold out now, pretty much. Still a few weeks to go, so we look forward to seeing you there. I really appreciate you taking the time. It was an absolute pleasure meeting a fellow geek today. So
absolutely.
We're going to continue our conversation after this, but I know you got to get going, so I'll let you go. I really do appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks, and give Sonny a big hug for me too.
I shall.
A long time. Okay.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Rob.
Everybody. Thanks, Tony.
Take care.
All right, bye.
So thanks everybody for tuning in. I just let Rob go so he can go off and go to his meetings that he has to attend later today. If you are looking forward, just go to OREA.com/OREA Conference and you can get your tickets for the OREA Conference there. And I look forward to seeing you all. We're going to see if we can try to get a few more speakers to come on the video show, do a Facebook Live with us so you can get a taste of who else is going to be there. I know former BC Premier Christy Clark is coming to speak at Reality, and a bunch of other people. So we'll try to see how many of them we can actually coordinate to get on the Facebook Live to give you a taste of what they're going to be talking about. And if you have any questions, please drop them below. Have a look at the speaker list. It is available at OREA.com/OREA Conference. Have a look at the speakers, and if you have an idea of which ones you'd like to see, send me a message and let me know. I'll try to get them on here. And if you have questions for them, send me those as well, and we'll put them in a list and see what we can do for you. I do appreciate you coming in. It is 2 p.m. on Friday afternoon, and it is snowing here in Bimbrook. Again, we're looking at another big pile of snow coming in, which I am not happy about. But it is what it is, so I do appreciate you guys coming in and warming up my day a little bit. And as always, I am the Geeky Agent here in Hamilton, and I guess we'll talk to you next time. Thanks for listening, and have a great day, y'all. Take care.